You are standing before a choice that could destroy your entire life. On one side is the legal confiscation of your assets. On the other are prison bars for tax evasion. This is Fiscal Folklore. In the next 30 minutes, we will reveal the most brutal truth about the IRS Gold Trap, something that lawyers in America never dare to tell you. Report honestly, only to be stripped of everything you own. Or hide in secret, only to become a federal criminal. This is the honest man's paradox, a system designed to destroy your legacy. As the national debt hits $38 trillion, you are the target. But today, we are giving you the key to the 100% legal escape before this trap snaps shut forever. Welcome to Fiscal Folklore. Most people watching this video are not criminals. You are the backbone of this country. You are the men and women who worked 40 years, paid your taxes, raised your families, and believed in the American dream. You bought gold and silver not to get rich, but to be the final anchor for your family legacy in an ocean of $38 trillion of national debt. But recently, you have felt a cold wind blowing. You have felt the tightening grip of a system that no longer looks at you as a citizen to be protected, but as a resource to be harvested. A few days ago, a comment on our channel captured this agony perfectly. A viewer wrote, and I quote, "If I report my gold to the IRS, they will know exactly how much to take from me. If I do not report it, I will go to jail for tax evasion. What do I do?" End quote. Think about the weight of those words. This is the honest man's paradox. It is a catch-22 designed to paralyze you. It is a psychological trap that forces you to choose between your life's work and your personal freedom. This is the IRS Gold Trap. The system wants you to believe there is no middle ground. They want you to believe that if you want to be safe, you must be a victim. And if you want to be free, you must be a fugitive. At Fiscal Folklore, we refuse to accept that choice. To understand why this trap is so effective in 2026, we have to look at the folklore of the past. Many of you remember the stories of 1933. You remember Executive Order 6102. Back then, the government demanded your gold, and many Americans hid their coins under floorboards or buried them in the backyard. For nearly a century, that was the folklore of survival. Bury it, hide it, keep it secret. But we are not in 1933 anymore. We are in a world of total digital surveillance. We are in a world where every bank transaction, every large purchase, and every digital footprint is tracked by algorithms more powerful than any human auditor. If you choose to hide your gold in secret today, you are not just hiding from the IRS, you are building a prison for yourself. You are holding an asset that you can never sell, never spend, and never pass down to your children without triggering a red flag in a system that considers you a criminal. The system is counting on your fear. They know that an honest man fears a jail cell more than he fears poverty. So, they use that fear to force you into compliance. They want you to report everything, so they can devalue your holdings through legalized confiscation or wealth taxes, just to pay off the interest on a debt you did not create. This video is not just another warning. There are enough people screaming that the sky is falling. Today, Fiscal Folklore is here to show you the third path. We are going to talk about the transparency shield. We are going to show you how the global elite have protected their wealth for 700 years. They do not hide in the shadows. They stand in the light. They are perfectly transparent with the tax authorities, yet their assets remain behind a jurisdictional wall that no domestic decree can ever cross. Before we show you the mechanics of the 100% legal escape, we must first shatter the greatest myth of all, the myth that hiding is your only option. In the next few minutes, we will explain why the old folklore of survival is now a death sentence for your wealth. We will show you why your current lawyers and accountants are giving you advice that protects their licenses, but not your family. You do not have to be a victim. You do not have to be a felon. You can be a sovereign. Stay with us as we dismantle the trap, piece by piece. For decades, the folklore of survival in America was simple. If the government comes for your wealth, you bury it. You hide your gold in a safe behind the painting, under the floorboards, or in a hole in the woods. In 1933, this was a brilliant strategy. Back then, money was physical. There were no digital footprints. The world was analog, and secrecy was your ultimate shield. But we must have a very honest conversation. We are living in 2026. The world has changed, but your survival strategy has not. And that is exactly what the system is counting on. In the modern era, secrecy is not a shield. Secrecy is a felony. The IRS and the Treasury Department have spent the last decade building a digital net that is almost impossible to escape. They do not need to find your gold to destroy you. They only need to wait until you try to use it. Think about this. You hide your gold for 10 years. The national debt continues to skyrocket to $40 trillion and beyond. Inflation eats the dollar alive. Your gold is now worth 10 times what you paid for it. You feel smart. You feel safe. But then, you need to use that wealth. You want to buy a new home for your children. You want to pay for a medical emergency. Or perhaps you simply want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. The moment you take that hidden gold to a dealer, the trap snaps shut. In 2026, every gold dealer is an unpaid agent of the government. They are required by law to file suspicious activity reports on any transaction that does not have a clear, documented paper trail. If you cannot prove where that gold came from, if you cannot show that it was reported and compliant with every shifting tax law over the last decade, you are flagged. Not as a citizen, but as a money launderer. Suddenly, your life savings are frozen. You are facing an audit that will go back years. You are facing fines that could exceed the value of the gold itself. And in the worst case, you are facing a prison cell. This is what we call the zombie asset. By hiding your gold in secret, you have turned a precious metal into a dead weight. You have wealth that you cannot spend, wealth that you cannot sell, and wealth that you can never pass down as a legacy. If you leave that hidden gold to your children, you are not leaving them a blessing. You are leaving them a legal nightmare. They will inherit an asset that they cannot prove ownership of, making them targets for the same system that is hunting you now. The folklore of burying your gold is a death sentence for your family's future. The system loves it when you hide. Why? Because when you hide, you are acting like a criminal. And when you act like a criminal, they have the moral and legal authority to take everything you have. They want you to stay in the shadows because that is where they have the most power over you. At Fiscal Folklore, we believe in a different way. We believe in the power of the light. The global elite, the royal families, and the oldest banking dynasties do not hide their wealth under mattresses. They do not live in fear of an audit. They are the most transparent people on earth. They report their holdings. They follow the rules. They stand in the bright light of day. But here is the secret they do not want you to know. Transparency does not mean vulnerability. They report their wealth to the authorities, but they hold that wealth in jurisdictions that the authorities cannot touch. They have built Fakngan or jurisdictional firebreaks, that separate the knowledge of ownership from the power of seizure. They are compliant with the law, but they are immune to the decrees. If you want to protect your gold in 2026, you must stop thinking like a fugitive and start thinking like a sovereign. You must stop trying to hide from the system and start learning how to move through it. Hiding is a tactic of the desperate. Sovereignty is the strategy of the wise. In the next part of our series, we are going to show you the mechanics of the transparency shield. We will show you how to be 100% compliant with the IRS while placing your gold in a faudai fapli that no domestic agency can ever breach. You do not need to bury your gold in the dirt. You need to place it behind a wall of international law. The transition from the old folklore to the new reality is painful. It requires you to let go of the stories your grandfather told you. But if you want your grandchildren to have a future, you must adapt. The door to the legal escape is still open. But as the digital surveillance state accelerates, that door is closing fast. Stay with us, because the path to true freedom is not found in the shadows. It is found in the law. Now that we have shattered the old folklore of hiding in the shadows, we must build something new, something stronger. We must build your transparency shield. The greatest trick the system ever played on the American middle class was making you believe that reporting your wealth is the same thing as surrendering it. They want you to fear the form. They want you to fear the disclosure. Because as long as you are afraid to report, you remain a criminal in their eyes, and they have total power over you. But at Fiscal Folklore, we study the architects of wealth, and the architects know a secret that most people never learn. Transparency is not your enemy. Transparency is your greatest legal defense. Think about the global elite. Think about the families who have held onto their gold and their land through world wars, through the rise and fall of empires, and through every economic collapse in history. They do not hide. They are the most compliant people on the planet. Why? Because they understand the difference between knowledge and power. The IRS can have the knowledge of what you own. You can file every form. You can be 100% transparent. You can tell them exactly how many ounces of gold you have and exactly where they are. But knowledge does not give them the power to seize. In 2026, if your gold is sitting in a safe in your basement, or even in a bank vault in New York or Dallas, you are in the trap. Because in those locations, the IRS has both knowledge and power. They know you have it, and they have the jurisdictional authority to walk in and take it with a single administrative order. This is where the transparency shield comes in. Imagine a glass wall. You are standing on one side with your gold. The government is standing on the other side. They can see you. They can see the gold. They know exactly what is there. But the wall is made of international law and 700 years of jurisdictional history. They can look, but they cannot reach through the glass. This is what we call a jurisdictional firebreak. A firebreak in a forest is a gap that the flames cannot jump. In the world of finance, a jurisdictional firebreak is a legal gap that a domestic decree cannot cross. When you report your gold to the IRS, but hold that gold in a high-security vault in a sovereign jurisdiction like Switzerland, you have achieved the ultimate balance of safety and legality. You are compliant with the law, so you never have to fear a jail cell. You are an honest citizen. You sleep like a baby because your taxes are in order and your forms are filed. You have removed the weapon of fear from the hands of the government. Yet at the same time, your gold is protected by a legal system that does not recognize the emergency decrees of a foreign power. If a future administration in Washington decides to revalue gold or issue another confiscation order, they will look at your file and see your holdings. But when they try to reach for that gold, they hit the firebreak. They have no legal authority to seize assets held in a private vault in a neutral, sovereign nation that respects private property rights above all else. This is the 100% legal escape. It is not about being a rebel. It is about being a sovereign. It is about using the very laws they created to protect yourself. Most people are too scared to even talk about this because they have been conditioned to think that offshore means illegal. That is exactly what the folklore wants you to believe. They want you to stay within the fence so they can shear you like sheep. But Fiscal Folklore is here to tell you that the fence is an illusion. The gate is open for anyone with the wisdom to walk through it. You must understand that the system in 2026 is hungry. It is starving for assets to cover the massive debt. It will go after the low-hanging fruit first. It will go after the people who hid their gold and can be easily branded as criminals. It will go after the people who kept their gold in domestic banks, where it can be seized with a keystroke. It will not go after the people who are protected by international firebreaks. Why? Because it is too expensive, too difficult, and legally impossible to do so. The transparency shield turns you into a high-value target that is impossible to hit. You are being honest with your country, but you are being protective of your family. There is no conflict between those two things. In the next part of this series, we are going to take you inside the vault. We are going to show you why Switzerland remains the gold standard of jurisdictional safety. We will show you the mechanics of the Swiss secret and how you can begin building your own firebreak today. You have been living in fear for too long. You have been trapped in a choice that was never yours to make. It is time to put down the shovel and stop burying your future in the dirt. It is time to pick up the pen, sign the forms, and move your legacy behind a wall they can see through, but can never break. The era of hiding is over. The era of the sovereign has begun. Stay with us as we show you the bridge to the other side. We have discussed the transparency shield. We have talked about the firebreak. Now we must look at the foundation upon which that firebreak is built. When Americans think of offshore banking, they often think of movies about criminals hiding money in tropical islands. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about the oldest, most respected sanctuary of private property in the history of human civilization. We are talking about Switzerland. To understand why Switzerland is the ultimate legal escape, you must understand the difference between a bank and a jurisdiction. In the United States, your property rights are subject to the emergency powers of the president and the administrative whims of the Treasury Department. Since the gold confiscation of 1933, a legal precedent has existed that says, in times of crisis, your private property can be sacrificed for the good of the state. But Switzerland is different. For 700 years, the Swiss have built a culture and a legal system based on one sacred principle: the neutrality of the individual and the sanctity of private property. In Switzerland, gold is not just a commodity, it is a fundamental right. The Swiss Jurisdictional Firebreak works because it is a wall built of two different legal languages. When you hold your physical gold in a private, non-bank vault in the Swiss Alps, you are placing your assets under a legal system that does not recognize foreign administrative orders. If the IRS issues a decree in Washington saying that all gold must be turned in for a fixed price, that decree has zero power in Zurich. The IRS can look at your tax return. They can see that you have reported your gold. They have the knowledge. But when they send a letter to a private Swiss vault demanding your assets, the vault responds with a simple truth: we do not answer to the Treasury of the United States. We answer to the laws of Switzerland. And Swiss law says that unless you have committed a serious crime, your property is your property. Period. This is why the global elite have moved their wealth here for centuries. They are not hiding from the tax man. They are protecting themselves from the volatility of their own governments. Many people ask, is it legal to move my gold to Switzerland? The answer is a resounding yes. It is 100% legal. In fact, it is safer to do it legally than to do it in secret. By filing your reports and being transparent, you remove the only weapon the government has against you: the weapon of criminality. If you are honest about what you have, they cannot put you in jail. And if what you have is in Switzerland, they cannot take it. You have achieved the ultimate checkmate. But you must be careful. Not all Swiss vaults are created equal. If you hold your gold in a Swiss bank, you are still inside the global financial system. Banks have branches in New York. Banks have nodes in the digital web. Banks are vulnerable to international pressure and bail-in laws. The true Swiss secret is the private, independent vault, a facility that is not part of the banking system, a facility that treats your gold as a physical bailment, not a digital balance. When your gold is in a private vault, it is not on a balance sheet. It is physical matter sitting in a specific place. It belongs to you and only you. Imagine the peace of mind that comes with this strategy. You no longer have to wake up at 3 in the morning wondering if a new executive order has been signed. You no longer have to worry about the national debt hitting $40 trillion or $50 trillion, because you know that even if the domestic system collapses, your family legacy is sitting behind a mountain of stone and a fortress of law that has never been breached. You have moved from being a victim of the folklore to being a master of the law. In 2026, as the world becomes more unstable, the bridge to Switzerland is becoming crowded. The windows of opportunity are narrowing. The requirements for moving wealth are becoming stricter. But the path is still there for those who have the courage to act while others are still paralyzed by fear. In the final part of our series, we are going to give you the master strategy. We will show you the exact steps you need to take to build your own bridge. We will show you how to report, how to move, and how to secure your future. The IRS Gold Trap is real, but so is the escape. You do not have to live in the shadows anymore. You can stand in the light, fully compliant, and yet fully protected. The era of the sovereign is here. It is time to walk across the bridge. Stay with us for the final blueprint. We have traveled a long road together in these 30 minutes. We have stared into the abyss of the $38 trillion debt. We have dismantled the myth that hiding gold in your backyard is a safe strategy in 2026. And we have revealed the power of the transparency shield and the Swiss Jurisdictional Firebreak. Now we come to the most important moment, the moment of action. Knowledge without action is just folklore, but knowledge combined with a master strategy is power. To escape the IRS Gold Trap once and for all, you must follow the 3 pillars of the sovereign blueprint. Pillar number 1, total transparency. Stop thinking like a fugitive. If you have gold that has not been reported, or if you are worried about the shifting tax laws, seek professional help to bring your holdings into the light. Filing your forms and paying what is legally owed is not a sign of weakness. It is the act of putting on your armor. When you are 100% compliant with the law, you remove the only weapon they have to put you in a jail cell. You are no longer a target for a criminal investigation. You are a sovereign citizen standing on solid legal ground. Pillar number 2, institutional firebreaks. Once you are transparent, you must move your assets behind the firebreak. Do not leave your family's legacy in a domestic bank vault or a home safe that can be breached by a local administrative order. Move your physical gold to a private, non-bank vault in a jurisdiction like Switzerland that respects private property rights as a sacred law. By doing this, you are separating the knowledge of your wealth from the power of seizure. You are telling the system, yes, I have this wealth. Yes, I have reported it. But no, you cannot touch it. You are using the very laws of international commerce to protect what is yours. Pillar number 3, the sovereign mindset. You must realize that the era of relying on a single government to protect your future is over. True security comes from diversification of jurisdiction. By holding your assets in a neutral, stable nation, while remaining a proud and law-abiding citizen of your own, you are creating a bridge for your family. You are ensuring that no matter what happens to the dollar, no matter what happens to the domestic political climate, your legacy will survive and thrive. This is the 100% legal escape. It is a path of honor. It is a path of wisdom. And it is the only path left for the honest man in 2026. The door to this escape is still open today, but do not be fooled. The system is moving fast. Digital currencies, increased reporting requirements, and the desperate need to fund the national debt are closing the windows of opportunity every single day. The people who act now are the ones who will be the leaders of the new era. They are the ones who will look back 10 years from now and know they did the right thing for their children and their grandchildren. You have a choice to make today. You can continue to live in the shadows of the folklore, hoping that the government will not notice you, hoping that your hidden gold will be enough when the crisis hits. Or you can step into the light of fiscal folklore. You can become a master of the law. You can build your bridge. You can secure your sovereignty. At Fiscal Folklore, we are more than just a channel. We are a community of people who refuse to be victims of a failing system. We believe in the American spirit of independence and the universal right to protect one's family. If this message resonates with you, if you are ready to put down the shovel and start building your firebreak, then you are in the right place. Subscribe to Fiscal Folklore, join our community, share this video with every honest man and woman you know who is caught in the trap. Because the more of us who walk the path of the sovereign, the stronger we all become. Your gold is your labor is your life, and your life belongs to you, not to a debt system that has lost its way. Take the first step today. Secure the bridge, protect the legacy, stay sovereign. Thank you for watching Fiscal Folklore. We will see you on the other side of the firebreak.